What's going on, you guys? Kintzugi here, and in this video, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit and share with you what I learned in my first year of being a YouTuber and streaming. And don't be afraid to use the chapter markers down below to save yourself some time. Now, to get us started here, one of the hardest things that I discovered when starting to become a YouTuber and streamer was the fact that I had such limited time. I know for most of you, you're probably working part-time or full-time, or you're going to school part-time or full-time. And if you're in that boat, let me share with you what I found out to be the best way to optimize your time. When it comes to streaming, I recommend only streaming 3 times a week. I also recommend not streaming back-to-back days. In my experience, streaming 3 times a week is the perfect balance to be present and available for your audience throughout the week. And like I said, when it comes to not streaming back-to-back days, there's 2 reasons for that. One, I think you can balance out your week a lot better to be present for your audience, as I previously mentioned. So for example, I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern always. So that means every other day during the week, people can expect to find me live. And when it comes to the back-to-back days thing, I highly recommend this because I feel as though every time I streamed back-to-back days, it felt like it was so much more of a burden to me, especially when I was doing it on days that I work during the day. Regardless of what you do for work or school, that's a lot of energy to expend during the day, only to then stream during the night where you're going to need more than enough energy to be appealing for your audience. And going back to what I said about my schedule being Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, please, for the love of God, make sure you pick a schedule that you can stick to like that. Think about this. Your audience has a life of their own and schedules that they must adhere to. So if you go live randomly throughout the week and it changes week after week, they're not going to be able to work their schedule around yours because they don't know what yours is. But when they know they can find you the 2 to 3 times a week, that's way easier for them to be able to figure out how they're going to make that work. And in my experience, my regular audience benefits from this greatly. Now, moving over to the YouTube side of things, think about your favorite game streamers and YouTubers. Usually those are 2 different people. One is going to focus on scripted video, and they're going to put out videos probably every week. The other side are streamers, and they're going to stream anywhere between 3 to 5 times a week. These 2 forms of content are very different. However, I would encourage you to find a way to do long-form scripted content for your game videos, as well as being present through your streams 2 to 3 times a week for the best and most optimal growth in the beginning. The reason for this is I find that long-form video generates viewers in live streams way more effectively than the short-form content. And let's just bookmark that short-form content for just a moment here. However, when it comes to balancing these 2 forms of entertainment mediums, it is very hard to do when you're someone only doing this part-time. My recommendation here for balance is to go back to what I said our streaming schedule should be: 2 to 3 times a week, the same time, same day, every week. And when it comes to your long-form YouTube videos, I would suggest to aim for 1 video every other week. And remember what I said about bookmarking that short-form content? Being that you're going to be live 2 to 3 times a week and have long-form videos 2 times a month, you can then go in and fill your content gaps with short-form content pulled right from your streams. This means your YouTube channel is going to be pinging your audience throughout the month with very few gaps in between each release. Sure, each form of content usually has a different audience, but nevertheless, the algorithm gods are going to love you for uploading at least some form of content throughout each week. Through this process, you should find out what you prefer to do. At the end of the day, there's a reason why people usually lean towards being a game streamer or a game YouTuber. There is no long-term gain, in my opinion, when it comes to being a master of none. I'm hoping that you guys can discover what you prefer to do more. For me, I'm actually still thinking about this, so even if after a year you don't fully know, you're not alone. Okay, so let's move on to the streaming chapter of this video and allow me to share with you what I learned after streaming for 1 year. The first thing that stood out to me when I started streaming, especially when I started gathering an audience, is that streaming is just multitasking on steroids. And what I mean by this is game streaming is so much more than just playing the game. Now, as I previously said, I really value my audience and I really am here to try and community build because I think there is so much power and love in sharing a hobby that we all enjoy together. And in attempting to do this, I've realized that trying to read every single single chat message is quite a doozy. A worthwhile doozy, that is. I can't tell you how many times people on stream tell me I'm missing something in the game, or I'm doing something a certain way that probably isn't the most effective or efficient. And I appreciate them because I know it's coming from a good place, but at the end of the day, my brain is literally going 1,000 miles per hour. When I am not only listening to dialogue or reading dialogue in game while trying to learn a new game that I've never played before, I am having anywhere between 1 to maybe even 3 to 4 conversations at once in chat, and that is really something that takes a lot of practice. The point I'm making here is, and the tip I have for you guys, is to make sure that you catch your breath, to make sure you drink some water, and to make sure that you find a good balance between being engaging with your audience as well as enjoying yourself in the games that you play. And this may sound like a crazy statement for some, but I would suggest prioritizing your chat over trying to get something acknowledged in game. You can always go back and learn what you missed in a game, but when it comes to somebody who is a real life person who's dedicating their time to hanging out in your chat, that can be something that is extremely fleeting. So don't let those people feel ignored, and acknowledge them and be grateful for them. And that leads us into my next point here. It is highly suggested that you join other smaller streamers' streams. Wow. Say that 10 times fast, huh? In order to be able to network and show your support for other streamers of your size. But I can't tell you guys how many times I do this and I find myself extremely bored. And the reason for this is I'll say something in chat for the first time, and there's so many streamers out there that either ignore it or sometimes they will acknowledge it, but they seem so unenthusiastic about it that it makes me feel a little awkward for even saying anything at all. So hear me out when I say you should show some real noticeable enthusiasm for anybody new that's joining the stream. And more importantly, you should try and get them involved immediately. Whether you're asking them a question about whether or not they've played the game you're playing before, one thing I like to do is have the rest of chat welcome in the new person, or simply talk to them like you've met them before. You could say something along the lines of, "Hey, it's good to see you. How's your day going?" Those little things really do get people involved. And as someone who's still very much a viewer on other people's streams, I can't tell you how much more effective it is for me personally to stick around if people show that they value that I'm there. All right, and another thing I learned in my first year of streaming: never stop talking. Now, of course, I don't mean this literally, and sure, I am very much a chatterbox when I'm streaming personally. However, I think you'd be in a better place if you were too talkative than if you didn't talk enough. Ways to achieve this is to simply narrate your gameplay. Of course, as a new streamer, you may not have too many people in chat, so simply narrate exactly what you're doing every moment you're doing it. Also, share your free-flowing thoughts as well. Now, when it comes to the games I play, I mainly focus on RPGs. I also usually pick a role play. I choose one that I can take upon myself in order to be a little bit more engaged with the game, which translates into a better experience, I think, for the audience. Many people know me as Kintzugi when it comes to my platforms. However, when we play our RPG games on stream, a lot more people are familiar with my alter ego, Kintzugi. Now, Kintzugi is somebody that tries to find any way to play a chaotic evil playthrough. And in doing so, I allow for some added engagement with the game I'm playing by discovering whether or not the game will allow me to be as evil as I want to. All the while, my chat is absolutely going insane. They see outcomes in RPG games that they've never seen before because they've never chosen the evil path. And my final tip and suggestion when it comes to streaming as a new streamer in the gaming space: you just have to let go. Take a look at one of my early streams.
That's one thing. I know it's early on, but I want more like crazy, wild masses of demons fighting me. So entertaining.
And now take a look at one of my recent streams. I've got one thing and one thing on my mind, and it is beautiful and bloody. Mighty Fine Ass tastes better than just ass, everybody, just so you know. I've got a hamster. Yeah, you like that? Your skin folds? That sounds weird. Never mind. I'm gonna stop that right there. Dead friend or lover? Because I feel like we are just loving hard. Hit me with your best shot. Uncorked grunt. I don't even know what the heck you're saying in my chat right now. I'm already feeling hot and bothered, so let's keep this going. Screw your sausage and peppers. I hear a phallus coming at us soon. Could you imagine what it's like to be somebody anything new joining this stream and seeing that in chat right now? Now, I don't think I have to tell you guys what is different about them, do I? Now, this isn't anything new, but it is extremely weird to talk to a camera for the first time. However, talking to this camera right here is key to being able to engage with your audience. Now, when I'm playing a game, I'm looking straight ahead, as you can see here. And when I look off to my left to see chat, the key thing here is to be able to look back up at the camera and talk to your audience. If you want some inspiration from this, go watch The Office. I call this the Jim Halpert. If you guys haven't seen The Office before, Jim Halpert, a character in the show, usually looks over at the camera. It'll be something like this, like something will be going on, something will be said, and then he'll just go, and he does this like goofy face, which makes it even more funnier. And in doing that, it acknowledges the audience, which I think makes, in this case, the show extremely funny. But also in the case of streaming, it shows that you see your audience and you are acknowledging them. And that is huge. So get comfortable where your camera is set up and get used to staring it down the barrel, because I can assure you that's how you create a community while streaming. All right, now let's move into the YouTube chapter of this video. Now, as I said previously in the video, I've never made YouTube videos until I started this channel. So for me, it was crucial that I made it as simple as possible. And to help you guys get started, there's a couple things that I want you to focus on when it comes to making YouTube videos, and more specifically in the gaming YouTube video space. First things first, use a very simple structure, one that you will probably remember from your early days of school. Have an intro, a middle, and an end. I have an intro that introduces myself and quickly within the first 30 seconds gets right into what the video is about. From there, I usually have a chapter system. This way, I can organize my thoughts that make it come off a little bit more clear for the viewers. And of course, every video must come to an end, so I usually conclude my thoughts based on the point I'm making within the video, as well as I have my call to action, which usually encourages people to like and subscribe, as well as encourages them to leave a comment based on the video topic below. The next important piece when it comes to making your YouTube videos here is to make sure that you have a hook of sorts. Now, for example, one thing I like to do on the channel is to simply make a video for every game that I complete. One thing I like to do is find a unique element to why you would want to watch an impression or review video of mine based on a game I recently finished. A simple example of this is my Dragon Age 2 video. Now, I, like many people, heard about all the negativity that surrounded Dragon Age 2, but after playing it, I realized that was a little bit overblown. I acknowledged why people were negative about the game. All the while, I explained why that wasn't the entire story after my time playing the game. Your hooks for your videos don't have to be groundbreaking. They just have to be effective in providing your audience with something that they feel like they haven't seen or heard before. Now, moving on here, we have YouTube thumbnails. Now, you guys have heard this many times before. If your thumbnail is poor, your video will perform poorly. As someone with no background in graphic design, it is so much easier than you think. I have a couple rules. First one being fill the space. So for me, when I'm looking at my thumbnail, I want to make sure there's no dead space, and the things that matter most, which is usually the text and the logo of the game, are front and center. I make sure all of my thumbnails are uniform so that when people see a thumbnail from the Kintzugi channel, they know immediately who it's coming from. The same color schemes, the same positioning, these are very important for creating the identity of your channel. My last point when it comes to making a good YouTube video is your tone of voice. Now, when I'm sitting here talking with you guys, I am leaned in a little bit and I'm more engaged with the camera that I'm talking to, and more importantly, I'm putting on a display voice. It's something that I feel is more engaging for you guys to be more receptive to the words I'm saying. If I started this video like this and I show just very poor body language, I'm not even close where my lighting now is not lighting up my face, and I'm more of a monotone voice, this does not seem like something that you guys really want to listen to, does it? But if I bring it back to this and I'm front and center with you guys, looking you down the barrel, as I previously mentioned, of this camera, and I'm explaining to you the things that I feel are the most important that you need to know, is this not much more effective? All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I hope that some of the things I mentioned here at least help you get started or make you feel like it's a little bit more accessible than you thought previously. And remember, if you guys have any questions at all when it comes to getting up and running for your streams, leave those questions in the comments down below, or even better yet, join our Discord. You can find our Discord invite link in the description down below, and in there, we'll be able to talk even further when it comes to getting you up and running for your first streams. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the video and want further RPG gaming content with a focus on community. But until next time, you fine people on the internet, I'll see you soon. Peace.